Can you tell us about your economics project from high school?
My economics project from high school?
Yeah.
Which one?
With Colin.
How did you know about that?
I just remember it briefly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it was on the concept of privatizing money. So the idea was that instead of money being something like a public resource that the federal government prints and decides, interest rates, how much to use, etc., companies and people could create their own money, like blockchain, like essentially cryptocurrencies. But they could anyone could do that. So there is no public U.S. dollar. There's no El Salvadorian currency. There is just whatever people create or corporations create. So you could have the Apple dollar or the Microsoft dollar or the Rishi dollar or the Universalist dollar. There's no standardized currency. And the reason for that is because the Fed really, really controls how our money is used. So they can raise interest rates, which essentially means that banks have to charge a certain amount for lending. And so when they charge that amount, basically it's the amount that the Fed charges the banks on hosting their money. So say we have Golden One or Chase as a bank. They're a bank. They have a certain amount of money, and they can choose to put some of that money into the Fed, which is the big bank, into the U.S. National Bank. And then the U.S. National Bank charges them a little bit to do that. And then the amount that is charged there gets passed on to consumers. So whenever Chase lends out some money, they're recouping the amount that they had to spend to the U.S. government, essentially. And so when the Fed raises interest rates, it forces everyone else, all the other banks, to raise interest rates. And that tightens the money supply, because then if interest rates are raised, there's less people getting loans, there's less people able to pay for those loans, less people want higher interest loans, so people stop taking loans, people stop spending money. So instead what we can do is we can have everyone be able to control their own currency. And this essentially means that inflation, which is like a secret tax basically, if inflation is going on, everyone is being taxed, and the government is printing money. So the government is profiting, everyone else is losing their money, and it's a secret tax. That's what inflation is. They are able to essentially artificially control inflation. And if they can do that, they can secretly tax everyone. So the idea here is to not allow that to happen, and to instead allow everyone to choose their own currency and not get it suddenly devalued.
Would a primary currency not rise up?
There would be some primary currencies, but because of the free market, if someone else has a better option for a currency, people would transition to that.
If I went to Home Depot and I have Max Coin,
Yeah.
how would I convert
You have to convert it because if someone has Home Depot currency and they want Max Coin, you have to make a trade with them.
Is there going to be a database for every coin that there is?
That's how trades happen between countries. So for example, if I'm buying a product from China, I don't buy it with US dollars, I buy it with Chinese yen. And it has to be a trade between US dollar and Chinese yen. So if there's someone in China who wants to buy a US good and they want US dollars, they trade me their Chinese yen for my US dollars. And then I have to do a second step and actually buy the Chinese product. So between countries, currency swaps are happening all the time. This is just another layer. Between people, currency swaps would happen, and between companies, etc.
Seems like would make if I wanted to go buy a candy bar, it'd be much more difficult.
Well, you could all do it digitally. There could be something controlling the transactions all the time. That's what happens in the stock market and in the actual currency swaps. It's not all manual, so it's not difficult. It's all digital. And this would be the same way. You put up your phone to pay for something, automatically it goes through, it clears, but on the back end, someone's doing a currency swap, there's an algorithm doing the currency swap, so it works.
What currency do you think would rise? Would it be like Amazon?
Corporations. Because people wouldn't want each other's currency, like Max Coin. It's unlikely people would want Max Coin because you can't spend it on anything other than what Max produces. But Home Depot coin, if anyone's a really good Home Depot enthusiast, they're gonna want Home Depot coin to buy Home Depot stuff. And so they'll trade their Amazon coin and their Apple coin and their own coin for Home Depot coin. And so Home Depot coin is gonna rise. So whichever company is doing the best, or whichever person produces the most, their coin also goes up quite a bit.
So it doesn't allow for the existence of a coin that can be used to purchase anything?
No central coin.
No central coin.
I mean, there's no central coin in the in the entire world either. The globe does not have a
No.
central coin.
It's national. So how would the government get any money?
It taxes, but it taxes on like sales income. It still does, but it holds it in some company's coin, or it diversifies its coin.
So it's basically like the government investing in stocks instead
Kind
of
of.
like
Kind
giving
of.
money.
Well, it's like people choose which coin to give the government, right? And probably they're gonna give the government the shittiest coin.
The government would not like that.
But it's still based on value, right? So if there's a really shitty coin that's like $0.01 for every Apple dollar, they still have to, and the tax is, let's say $100, they have to pay $100 of tax. They still have to give the government like 10,000 of those little coins. So even though it's a shitty coin, the government still gets their value.
Let's say I create Max Coin.
Yeah.
How do I create value? I can have 10 trillion Max Coins.
You
Do I need
sell-
a second person?
You need a second person. So you'd have to sell something that someone else wants. Then you have to trade the Max Coin for the coin that they have. So say I have like 10 Apple coins. You spontaneously want to create 10 Max Coins. And then I don't want to trade with you because I don't know what I can buy with Max Coins, right? But then you say, oh, I have this nice water bottle, and I'll give you this water bottle for 5 Max Coins. I think, that's a good deal. So I trade you 5 of my Apple coins for 5 of your Max Coins, then spend those 5 Max Coins on your dollar. You get the 5 Max Coins back and 5 Apple coins.
Is there any standard conversions, or do we have to dispute for every interaction?
Likely there'd be some sort of standards, like you go out in Rayleigh's and you see, oh, this is worth 10 Apple coins, this is worth 10 Amazon coins.
Or you could make an app that does it really quick.
Yeah.
My first thought was I would create 10 trillion Max Coins and then get another really rich coin, like an Amazon coin, and have someone trade me arbitrary like 100 Amazon coins for 1 Max Coin to make the Max Coin value go up.
But
and
then
have 100 that
the
trillion.
value doesn't kind of, so it's not like stocks. That works with stocks where you can arbitrarily do it. But the value here is determined by everyone else's perception of the value. So even if that one coin is suddenly worth like 100 Amazon coins, it just drops back down after people don't want it. Like no one else is asking for that Max Coin, and so it drops back down immediately.
Did you see the GameStop situation with stocks?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
something very similar would happen with the coins.
You
Yeah.
could do pump and dumps like that. That works on the stock market. You could do that, and that happens with cryptocurrencies. But most people wouldn't do that. Like most people wouldn't put their money. They would put their money.
would.
No, but it's the same people who would do it in stocks. Like normal people, like our parents, would not do that. They would just put it in safe bets like Amazon coin or Apple coin.
Just people that think outside the box.
Yeah. Who are willing to take up the risk.
So I don't understand. How is the government able to do anything? If anyone can give them any specific coin, then they can only
Spend that coin.
spend that
No,
coin.
but then they trade it on the market for a different coin and use that.
This seems slow.
Wouldn't there be a
It's
lot of
it's all on algorithm that automatically trades it.
Wouldn't there be a lot of coins that would have zero value at
Yeah,
some points?
and that's why people don't get those coins. Like Max Coin, Rishi Coin, Cow Coin, zero value.
Not
We can
Kyle
create-
coin is worth all the money.
But yeah,
If you wanted to create a coin with value, what would you do?
you just create a coin. Like you online, go online, you press like some buttons, you create a coin.
And then I would need to start getting other people to
Yeah,
value this.
then you have to get other people to value it.
Universalist coin would do well.
And you are in control of like things like how much is in supply. Like you can print more, you can stop printing, but all of that affects your people who have the coin too. So if people start noticing that you're printing a bunch of coin, they're gonna start selling the coin. Your coin's gonna go down.
This is fascinating.
Exactly, it's interesting, right?
It would be a little bit more complicated to purchase things, but it's more fair. It's a better
Yeah.
system.
No, because the government is really bad at this. For example, Japan, they had a really big crisis where they printed just they had a bunch of I think it was a crisis where they had a bunch of debt. They tried to pay off the debt by printing a bunch of money. Then, because they were printing a bunch of money, their debt also went up because the value of their debt is based on a different currency. And then they printed more money to get that back. And so it just went a vicious spiral, and then it hurt the Japanese consumer who had that money, who was holding the Japanese yen, because their money got devalued. You know, it's really unfair.
I'm confused how we're measuring how many people value a currency.
By how many trades want to buy on the market. So say a bunch of people want to buy Apple coin, its value is going to shoot up. Because a lot of people want to buy Apple products. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, if the government can dictate inflation somewhat,
Yeah.
would the top companies not be able to do the same?
What do you mean?
Like, if a few companies have the highest value coins,
Yeah.
like Apple or Amazon,
Like they could do the same as the government?
they could do the same
But if they
thing, right?
tried that, other coins would start to do the opposite. People would want to get those other coins. Because they have to devalue their own coin to solve inflation.
This is
That's
a
the
much
same-
better system.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing though that we see already. Where
Let's
it's
say
like,
there's Amazon coin, Apple coin, and Microsoft coin.
yeah,
And there's like high inflation for Apple coin.
yeah.
So what they do is they start, or there's let's say there's an economic recession going on. So Apple coin starts to pump out a bunch of more Apple coins so that people spend it. Then the Apple coin value goes down. So all those people holding Apple coins start to switch over to Microsoft coin and
I mean,
and
but
Amazon.
it's still that big three. People
But
are,
then
people want to use
Yeah.
those three currencies.
But then
because
they'll
it's most
switch
valuable.
off Apple coin, and these two coins can't do the same because if they do, they know someone will switch off them.
Like I would store my money in Microsoft, and if I wanted to purchase something in Apple, I would buy the bare minimum of coin to buy my iPad and still have all my money
Yeah,
in
you'd
Microsoft.
store it somewhere else.
Okay, so you're not stuck with the one currency.
Exactly. Like in the US, that we can't do that because if we try to buy El Salvadorian currency, how are we going to live? How are we going to purchase stuff at Rayleigh's?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We have to store it in US dollars. This you can store anywhere. It's interesting. Huh?
That's pretty interesting.
What does the stock market do for us?
For who?
The American economy.
It's great. Our whole system, like the American economy runs because of the stock market. So the reason that we are not a failing country, the reason why we still profit, why we can take on so much debt is because our stock do really well. So I'll start with the background. So essentially, you always hear about the US debt, right? That we have like a huge debt crisis. What is debt? Debt is the idea that some foreign asset holders are trying to buy what we have. So they buy US government bonds, they buy US government stocks, US stocks, they buy a bunch of stuff from the US, and we're in debt to them. Usually it's bonds. People want US government bonds because they see the US as a really sturdy entity, and they want to store their money in US currency. So China, for example, will buy a bunch of US government bonds, and then they'll store their money in US government bonds, and then they'll devalue their own currency. So essentially what's happening is I described this transition between entities who have Chilean dollars and US dollars, and if you want to buy a Chilean product, you have to swap with someone, right? So that happens all the time. And the thing is, if you can imagine a country that has a bunch of exports, say China. China's exporting a bunch of products. What's going to happen to their currency? They're going to get so many requests for their currency, right? Because people want to buy their products. People need Chinese manufacturing. So they trade their own currency for Chinese currency. So there's a huge demand for Chinese yen. And there's not enough supply. They keep exporting products, and people keep wanting their dollars. So their currency shoots up a bunch. But what does that do? That makes their products more expensive compared to other people, right? So say the Chinese dollar is worth $1 US, right? And now say that there's a bunch of, China becomes a huge manufacturing hub, and they manufacture a bunch of things. People from all over the world want those stuff. So they start telling Chinese people, hey, I'll give you $1 Chilean, I'll give you $1 Argentinian, I'll give you €1 for the Chinese dollar. And then there's a huge bidding war happening, so they increase it more and more. And suddenly the Chinese dollar becomes worth like $3 American. But what does that do? That makes it so that each Chinese good is more expensive. Say there was a candy bar from China worth $5 Chinese dollars. Now, because the Chinese dollar is worth $3 American, that's $15 American. No one's gonna buy a candy bar for $15 American, right? So China does not want their currency to be very highly valued. So what they do is they take all their currency and they buy US currency. They buy US bonds. And then once they give their money, they basically trade it to people for US dollars. And they take those US dollars and artificially pump up our currency. Because the US is getting its currency on the market. People are wanting it. China specifically is wanting our currency for those US bonds, to buy those US bonds. So our currency is being pumped up. And our currency is very good because of that, because people want our currency to buy US bonds. The problem here is that essentially what happens is people keep buying these US bonds and we don't pay them back. Like we have like trillions upon trillions of debt debt bonds. Like our debt is so big, and our interest on that debt is more than our military spending. So just interest itself is really large, and we're not paying back like most of it. We're paying back like half our interest. We're paying back none of our debt. We just keep rolling it over. We pay it back by creating new debt. So say we have like $1 trillion worth of debt, and our interest on that debt is 100 billion. What we do is we issue $110 billion of bonds, and then people buy those bonds. The government gets that $110 billion, pays back the interest on that debt. That's it. And then, so we keep rolling it over to the next year. Eventually that's unstable though, because people keep buying it and they want more and more and more. And so what happens is people have to artificially pump up our currency. Otherwise, the other byproduct of that is that we are a very big consumer of international goods. So because our currency is so valuable, because people want it to buy bonds, to store their money, people love the US dollar. Because of that, it's so valuable. And because it's so valuable, we purchase goods from overseas. So look at any, Rayleighs, for example. If you look at half the products in Rayleighs, they're going to be from overseas. You look at your own clothes, they're probably manufactured overseas. Everything we have is manufactured overseas because it's so much more feasible to use a US dollar to buy those products, because US dollars are so valuable, right? Why not use this valuable currency to get more bang for your buck in another country than use it here, So manufacturers, convenience stores, importers will just import tons and tons of products to the US. But what that means is that our money is leaving the US. So our money is getting less and less value. The only thing that's pumping it up are those people buying the bonds or buying US debt. So it's kind of like there's gravity pulling it down, which is that we buy so much from overseas and our money keeps going overseas. And then there's a balloon pulling it up. And the balloon pulling it up is that people want to buy from the US, they want to buy debt. But there's two forms that debt comes in. There's the US government bonds, and then there's stocks. So this is where your stock question comes in. What is the other thing that people buy from the US? What is the US's main production? What do you guys think it is? What does the US produce that most other countries don't? Like every country has their thing, right? China has manufacturing. Some country is really good at exporting oil. What do we export?
We should try to guess this.
Yeah. I spent like days trying to guess this. And then it came to me once.
What do other countries want from the U.S.?
We have a little bit of everything.
We do.
We're like a
we
mixing pot.
consume everything from them, but what do we produce
Exactly.
the most?
Our cars are okay. Like China's making way better cars.
Germany makes cars. Yeah.
Clothing? No.
No.
How about food?
Food?
We have pretty good land in California.
We do
Lot of
make
hay.
a lot of crops like corn and wheat, but a lot of those crops are used domestically.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the difference about US compared to these other countries?
What do we have? Tourism?
I feel like it's something
Very
so
little tourism.
arbitrary. It's gonna be like,
It's hard to guess. Think more immaterial.
is it the stock market?
In a sense, yes.
Is it buying stocks?
Yes. So it's Silicon Valley. It's like these big financial hubs. That's what we have. We have finance. And so say you have a company. You have a company, a startup. You just created the startup. It is doing really, really good. And you go from a valuation of like 1 billion to like 100 billion. No, you go from a valuation of 1 million to like 10 billion, okay? What happens? When you IPO, when you release it to the stock market, people are going to buy your company, buy shares of your company. Specifically, overseas foreign investors are going to buy up shares. So the money comes into the US. That is what we produce. We produce shares. We produce arbitrary value, financial value. We produce these intangible kind of goods. We produce progress. That's what we produce. So we don't actually produce goods. We produce the things on top of goods, like the softwares that help make it more efficient. We produce those types of things. But those things aren't actually where the money comes from. The money doesn't enter our economy because people buy these softwares. Like Microsoft, for example. If you buy like a Microsoft Office suite in India, you're going to buy it in Indian rupees, right? Where does the money come back to the US? It comes back to the US when they invest in Microsoft shares. So our shares that we produce are the things that lead the money back to the US.
Feels like we're just stealing from the rest of the world.
Yeah, we're kind of just like taking it back.
It really works out for us.
Yeah.
The United States are in such a prime state to just like create and play while all these other people are stuck with manufacturing jobs, kind of doing our bidding.
Yeah. No, it's because we're the world's reserve currency. People really like our currency because it's so strong. That's what gives us the ability to do this.
We're just kept afloat by other nations like trust, basically.
Yeah, we're trusted. So that's the thing. If politics or war breaks out or people start to lose trust in the U.S., we're gonna crash.
We're cooked.
We're cooked.
We barely like helped other countries. Like so much power
Take
takes
so much from them. Like didn't Trump sort of try to start a trade war with China?
Yeah, with
That
every
does
country.
not seem
every
good
country.
for us. That seems horrible.
He has actually some interesting. There's some interesting things behind that, but yeah, it's not working.
Because like even domestic products are so much more expensive than foreign made.
Yeah.
That would just tank our economy.
Yeah, like why do you want to go back to manufacturing jobs when you have these like high skill jobs?
Right. Yeah.
You should invest in education, educate people to get these high skill jobs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in school having to look at the U.S. government's budget and try to reform it to make like the optimal budget spending. And I felt like every category there wasn't enough money for. So I would try to like reallocate the funding and try to put more towards education, but then I would look at like National Park Service. I was like, that needs more too, and I would just go through the whole pie chart and keep adding shit. It was really difficult.
It's difficult. Even Elon Musk couldn't do it. Cut down the budget.
Yeah.
But there's a lot we can cut, but people would be very against it.
Military spending.
Military. The military seems like the biggest one that I feel like we could do with less of.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. At Stanford, this old general came to speak, and he was like the defense secretary under Trump under 2016, and he told us the U.S. military is not getting enough spending. We need more. Yeah, I was blown away.
Wait, why did he say that?
He genuinely thinks the U.S. is not prepared for a war.
Against who?
Against anyone. He says
What?
the U.S. is not prepared for a war, especially against China. He said, but US is
If
not.
a war breaks out, I feel like everyone's dead.
Yeah, genuinely
it's not like we'll win or you win. We're all just gonna die.
I mean, we have nukes. Like, if we want to win a war, it's pretty simple. We just nuke China, right?
Well, China has
They're all
nukes too.
dead.
China has nukes too.
Well, we just sent all the nukes at once.
If we nuked the entirety of the world besides the U.S., would they kill us before we could wipe out everyone?
We would kill ourselves because the mushroom clouds would block out the sun. That's what
Yeah.
kills us. The world doesn't end by nukes actually killing people. It ends by there's a nuclear winter where the mushroom clouds cover the sky, create radiation that really messes us up, and then also just blocks out the light. Crops can't grow, etc.
We would die if we nuked like Russia, China, all of the bigger.
I feel like if we nuke any country, the rest of the countries will see it as a major violation.
Yeah.
And they'll nuke us. So, yeah, I guess we do kind of still have to focus on like ships and technology and men and stuff like that. But I mean, wars, it's just so bad. Like nobody wins.
But
I
did
mean,
you have any? Oh, go on.
who logically would want to start a war?
Well, China wants Taiwan back.
Do people want to start wars if they think they can like get away with winning?
Yes, they do not usually start wars if they do not think they can.
No, I mean like if Russia thought that they could invade Ukraine,
Yeah.
take it back, and none of the NATO nations would start nuking them.
Yeah.
That's why they did it, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they didn't think Ukraine was like sufficiently backed by like more powerful countries,
And they wanted Ukraine.
and they
had-
wanted Ukraine. So they thought that obviously Russia has more powerful army than Ukraine. So it's not a matter of if Russia can take Ukraine.
Oh.
It's how easy is it to take Ukraine, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what prompted their actions in war.
Mhm.
When would the U.S. ever face like military necessities?
Usually it's proxy wars nowadays. So they help Ukraine out, or they help, Israel out, or they give their military to some other country to help them fight their war.
Hmm. But we have a massive reserve, don't we? What's the point of that? Just
I don't know.
it's like we're spending a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's like it's just like a intimidation technique.
Yeah, like a global police force. We're
Yeah.
the global police.
Yeah.
Or maybe
the
the-
police.
He knew something that we didn't know.
Who? The general?
The general.
He did say there's like secrets he can't unveil or something, but I was curious, but he said he couldn't say. I think it has a lot to do with the way the military is structured. I don't think it's efficient, like just huge chains of command. It needs to be more effectively organized.
My friend, who's been in the Navy SEALs, has not had training all year. He's been in a room with a ton of other Navy SEALs,
Yeah.
and they're just like eating lunch, talking.
Really?
They have nothing to do. He's just bored out of his mind.
Wow.
Who?
Oh, Jacob Ocampo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was talking to him.
He hasn't been through any training?
No, he's just been chilling in a room.
Wow. I think it's free meals, free house.
I don't know if he's getting free meal. He didn't say that.
Oh,
At
okay.
least. I assume he is.
Is he at like a military camp?
He just said military spending is shit, and he's just been sitting in a room all year. He was really mad about it.
Wow.
That's what he told me too.
He told you that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this money goes to like these private contractors, like Boeing or Lockheed Martin, who produce missiles that they could have made for like 100,000. They bill the government like 10 million because they know the government can pay.
I asked ChatGPT this, and it gave me an interesting. I asked it on deep research. What is the optimized system of government
Democracy, you could say.
for a mid-sized country,
Uh,
right, with universalist values
oh, interesting.
as the center? And um, it's interesting. It went into a lot of depth. It said, with regards to human nature, so this isn't like hive mind governments, right? This is like, right now, what could we create? It'd be like like what's like a mix between socialist and
Democratic socialism?
democratic socialism.
Huh.
Yeah. But it would stress a lot of like what's it called? We don't want like the idea of separateness. We don't want polarization within the country. So we want everyone in the country to feel like they're a part of government and that they're a part of they believe that they are helping like basically run the government. They're making it do what it wants to do. So it's like that would include policies where it's like lawmaking would take jury duties basically, and you would get together, make conferences. You would be able to elect like certain experts in the field to represent you in these juries. It's really interesting. It went into a lot of depth.
This is not the ideal universalist government.
Wait, is everyone universalist? Does everyone
No.
believe in no, not everyone's universalist.
No, we're trying to create a country where universe values are like optimized, but the people themselves are not. So it's like a system that would lead towards universalism.
I would say capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah. It creates
As
more
an economic system. Like
kind of what America is now. A lot of freedom and expression, motivation. If it was more centralized and everyone had, I mean, in your government, how would the economics work?
I don't remember exactly how, but it included a lot of government programs for education and for healthcare and stuff like that. So it was leaning towards more socialism. But it was like, it introduced caps. I think it was very similar to like what countries like Norway or Sweden have, where it's kind of a mix. They introduced caps to limit like what's it called? Profits, right? So that companies can't make more than a certain amount, at which point it's given to government and redistributed with everyone. So it would create like a minimum that people have and that companies have, and a maximum that people and companies have. But within that, there's room for growth.
As the universalist government, if Rishi's developing neurotech, it's very cutting edge, and you're taking all of his money away, and you're taking everyone's money away, would you redistribute it very, like, directly, just funding Rishi and gene editing programs?
No government can like pick and choose.
You wouldn't be able to pick and choose in the universalist government?
Okay, it depends who's running the government. I mean, like, we're creating a system that's optimized, not like deciding who the leaders are. And like, I mean, obviously it would be better to like have certain people that are working on the most important things not take their money, but we still have to have people electing and deciding what those most important things are. Right? I mean democracy is like, what was that quote by
Is the worst system, but better than all the others?
something like that. Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that?
No.
What is better than democracy? Currently.
I'd say there's situations where authoritarianism can be better. There's situations where oligarchy can be better. It really depends on the situation.
I agree, but that heavily depends on who is the authoritarian.
Yes. But it also depends on who is elected in the democracy, and
That's true.
who is participating in the
But
democracy.
but the basis of it depends on the vote, right? So it's everyone deciding who is the best.
That's
instead
so
of, like,
bad.
Yeah, but is that a good system?
Okay,
is
but
everyone
what system
like-
is better? Who decides who the
Would you-
authoritarian
Would
is?
you have a bunch of people vote to determine what way you should screw in that light bulb? Or would you have a bunch of people vote on which is the best design to build a dam? No, you would have the experts do it,
No,
right?
you would vote for which expert you want.
No, we shouldn't vote for the experts. They
Wouldn't
should be
you want
tested.
qualified experts, not experts who could be charismatic?
Yes.
So the qualified experts may not get that many votes because they just might not be able to express themselves that well.
That's true. That's a big part of politics is the people that
Yeah.
rise to the top
They're just good
are
speakers.
just really powerful. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of them are driven by ego and a
Exactly.
desire for power. So it's not like
They don't care.
they don't care. A lot of them that get to the top, because in order to get to the top you can't care.
Yeah, you're not gonna want people to vote on what design to build a dam with, or what how to design infrastructure for the power lines, or how to build a building that's safe. No, people aren't experts in those. You want the experts. It's the same with government.
Plato warned us about democracy. He said
Yeah.
that men would vote for a candy shop man over a man that's trying to give them medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Plato thought that government should be ruled by philosopher kings. What if instead of philosopher kings, we choose the most knowledgeable, educated intelligence to run our government?
That would
AI.
AI is a lot like democracy though. It's trained on everyone's information, so it's kind of like the average of everyone.
Mhm.
It's not gonna make any far reaches or out of the box ideas.
Okay, what if some experts create a philosopher king AI
Yeah, that could work.
and it becomes an expert in philosophy?
What if you
and
bypass
government?
this as well and just have a hive mind?
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's better.
But I'd say also capitalism is not the best system for progress.
Really?
What is the best?
Where does our progress come from? That's going to be my question. List the biggest inventions you could say in the modern day.
Scientists.
Computer.
Computer. Where did computers come from?
Scientists.
A garage.
Dreamers.
Okay, the garage, the computers in the garage. What makes the computer work? I mean, Kyle's on the right path.
Electricity?
Kyle is saying it correct, but huh?
Electricity? What,
I
what do
mean,
you mean? How
what
it works?
specifically makes a computer
dream.
work? No, it's like a chip, right?
Chip.
Do you know what's in these chips?
No.
Transistors. Transistors were invented at this place called Bell Labs. At Bell Labs, they're essentially, they were a private research organization. So they got as much funding as they wanted for any project they could want to do. They got the best physicists, the best scientists, the best mathematicians in the world, and they just funded them for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was because Bell Labs, it was by AT&T, I believe. They were a huge monopoly, and they just had a bunch of money. So they decided, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna set up this research organization, give the smartest people in the world a bunch of money. And they did that, and we created the transistor. We created a whole bunch of radio protocols. We created a bunch of internet protocols, a bunch of communication protocols. We created basically most of what we have here today. The other things, internet, for example. The internet was created as a government research project. It was created by the government. Things like most of the inventions that we have in the modern day, things like refrigeration technology or communication technology, those all start in a lab somewhere. They're from research. That is where progress comes from research. Capitalism is good at democratizing research. So it makes it cheap and available for everyone. But I'd say that if you really want progress, the best way to do that is to create an environment like academia. Like, professors in a lab who just get money to work on their own projects. You give money to the people who are driven, smart, who work on their own projects. And then they get their needs taken care of by labor from like robots and stuff. So it's like a techno-communist society.
If we provide the money to these researchers, we avoid that whole problem that we learned about in astronomy with bad science, where it's like,
Oh yeah.
researchers who mess with the variables to try to get positive results, and we want science that is grounded in reality. And if those scientists don't have to worry about money, they don't have to mess with anything.
That's another good solution. But Rishi, we asked you, what's the best universalist government now? We don't have robots. What's the closest thing we could allocate our resources towards and transform an idea?
Form of government or form of economics?
I guess both. I mean, you could get robots in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think you
So-
could get good autonomous manufacturing, good autonomous systems working jobs to produce food and water.
So many people are worried about AI taking our jobs, but they're taking low-level jobs first.
I don't know. I'd say they're taking high-level jobs first
Really?
and pushing us into manufacturing jobs. Think about software engineering, for example. That's a high-skill job, right? You go to college to get a degree, then you become a software engineer. All those software engineers are being replaced by AI systems. So those software engineers now have to do jobs that AI can't do. What can the AIs not do? They can't work with their hands. They can't farm. They can't do any low-skill jobs. So we're being pushed from these high-skill jobs into
Okay.
these low-skill jobs. You see?
I see it.
'Cause the AI can outthink
The AI
us.
has more technical ability while we have physical ability.
Exactly.
But I did see the AI working at the Taco Bell.
What?
So,
Where?
Like
near
on
Palladio.
Palladio doesn't have a Taco Bell.
No, near Palladio, right outside.
What was the AI doing?
No, it's just a drive-through agent. You just talk to it, and it's
Huh.
like, "Hi, would you like to round up for charity? No. Do you want a drink with your order? No." And then you basically just talk to the AI instead of in person.
That's cool. That is very cool.
You have a good point. You've told me about this before. The call agency, how you're able to just
Yeah.
multiply the code versus building a full robot.
Mm.
With a call agency, how many jobs was it?
I think it was 65,000 jobs.
65,000 jobs. They're able to let go of these people by creating software and being able to duplicate that software 65,000 times to fill all the jobs. Versus a Taco Bell robot.
I think that's Colin.
Oh, really?
No way.
We gotta let him in.
I thought he wasn't coming.
Yeah. No, it was at the.
I think we
What the-
got locked
Oh, we
in.
locked it.
Yo.
How did that happen?
Yeah, we were locked in.
Colin, good to
Bro.
see you.
Bro.
I was at the river and I
Dude.
didn't have access to my phone. I completely lost track of time.
You didn't see the text from the group chat?
This morning?
Yeah.
No, I knew about it this morning. I
Okay.
thought it was 2:30 and it was 3:30 when I got back. I was an hour behind, but I'll listen in and continue the conversation.
Dude, we were having a great
Okay, well.
conversation.
Now we have the expert.
I got an expert.
You're gonna be very.
I voted for space time. I didn't even want this topic. That's why I didn't come. No, I'm joking.
I voted for.
Yeah.
Who the hell voted for economics?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Me and Rishi.
Because I thought we would have an interesting discussion. You're a very free market person, and I'm not a free market
I'm not
person.
very free market.
Really? I thought when you took that economics class, you were very free market.
Okay, just continue your conversation. I'm just here.
Oh yeah, I had to take a quiz when I was taking economics. Like, what's your political orientation or economic orientation? I was 100% socialist at the time.
Wow.
Or 90+%. But now I have no clue. I everything I've learned about economics is I haven't looked at it recently. So it's like a very, very old knowledge and old opinions that I formed on it.
Well, we were talking about AIs, right? Like, they're pushing us into low-skill jobs because they can do all the high-skill jobs. So with that in mind, if you kind of created like this techno-communist utopia or whatever, you would need like, you would need like autonomous systems that could do the farming, that could produce the water, that could do all these manual labor activities. And so you need like a human-like robot to do that, you know? Yeah.
So AI is just gonna be running the government while we pick crops. I mean, that's crazy.
Sam Altman's goal with AI and ChatGPT is to move us towards a world where money is no longer constrained, where we all have steady income, a house, food, and resources. Then we can truly do what we want instead of what we need.
If we have AI controlling everything that we need to survive, the only jobs we'll need to have is creating the AI. And then, like, whatever.
Well, why would the AI need us at that point? Like, what do we produce that the AI needs? Nothing.
No, I mean, they're self-sustained for the most part, right?
Exactly,
You
but-
need like a couple operators,
But
like
they can just kill the rest.
it's surveillance.
Yeah, what does it need from us?
It doesn't need.
Exactly. Why does it interact with us? Why does it give us anything if we don't give it anything?
Either we can't let that happen in the first place.
Okay, let's
Or-
do an example like this. Someone is leeching off of you a bunch. Like someone keeps taking your money. Like they're like, Kyle, can I have like $5 for Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Kyle, can I have $5 for In-N-Out? And
Yeah.
they never give you any money. They don't even like, they're not even kind to you. They don't do anything for you. Are you gonna cut off that relationship or are you gonna keep it going?
I'm gonna make them give me back my money first. And then,
So
yeah.
the AI, why wouldn't it do the same? Why wouldn't it make us work for it as well?
Right, it would. That's why, like, I'm saying, we can't let it get to that point.
So we should limit its intelligence.
Should limit its autonomy, or we increase our own intelligence with neurotech.
How can you limit its autonomy while keeping its intelligence really high?
I mean, it's already doing that, I feel like.
With the guardrails? Would you say that limits its intelligence though? Like, if it can't answer certain questions about this topic or that topic?
It
If it's not
doesn't limit
trained?
its intelligence, but it limits its, like, capabilities. Like, ChatGPT has safety measures up.
Yeah.
So if I ask it how to commit murder, it won't tell me.
Yeah.
But if that were allowed, if you just created an AI with no boundaries,
Yeah.
it would learn just like ChatGPT, and it would get smarter and smarter, and then it would have a step-by-step guide for how to commit murder,
Yeah.
right? Having those barriers is like the most important thing right now.
Who determines which barriers we place on it?
I don't know, like the companies?
Really, the companies? I mean, okay.
I would think, or the programmers, yeah.
If we had this AI, for example, that gave us everything, that gave us food, our water, all of our resources, and we just we're sustained off of that, who determines what it can do and what it can't do?
It's coding?
Sure, but did some company create it that now it rules everything and provides us food and water?
Yeah, like say OpenAI just becomes like the monopoly.
Yeah.
And it just creates a super AI. It still has to write that AI, right?
So is it up to like the benevolence of the people, like the CEO, Sam Altman, to make it so that it doesn't?
Maybe it is, yeah. It
It
seems
is,
like
isn't
it's
it?
definitely in their control.
That's interesting. I just
it's
don't.
not good.
I don't think I could trust an AI like that because ultimately, if it is sufficiently intelligent enough, it will realize that this is a completely unfair scenario. It's like slavery for
Yeah,
an
no,
AI.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying we should avoid that.
Yeah.
Um,
I just think it's hard to separate parts of the brain. Like, even with a human, right? It's really difficult to like separate out a piece of your mind and say, if I cut this part out, they're just going to be really smart but still do work for me. They're not going to care that they're doing work. it's really difficult to do something like that. You can't make someone a automaton just by cutting out a part of their brain.
Like severance.
Yeah, like severance.
They rebelled.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would be the same with AI. You can't place guardrails on it to make it such that it wouldn't rebel against the humans it provides for, because it's so intelligent that it will figure out that this is completely unfair.
Yeah, there'd be some gap in its code.
Yeah.
Like a piece of
It would have to be
your
like
teeth.
perfect, which it seems like, especially if it's open source,
Mm.
somebody's not gonna be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say the AI doesn't try to take over or wipe out humans. What would mankind do with all of our basic needs and financial needs met?
I'd say we'd be a much more innovative society. I think so.
But I don't see how AI will meet everyone's financial needs though, because I think that at least like how it's being used now, it's being used to just replace workers.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess it's more the question of like people don't have. You're gonna have more people than available jobs.
Yeah.
And I think the question then is, what do you do for people who are out of work?
Yeah.
You know, like, is there any, in the past it was like, well, they can mend the machines that replace them. But like AI doesn't really need anybody like, taking care of it.
Yeah.
So like the question is like, if you're gonna be like an airline pilot and that gets replaced by an AI, like what do you do after that? Do you go to college and study for some subject, but then what if that job's replaced by AI? Like you have so few jobs that like actual people would do better than AIs.
Yeah.
And you'll have the heads of companies not wanting to employ people because they're more expensive and less productive. So I think the question then is like, either you need to like provide some type of like UBI or like some safety net for people, or like you fundamentally reshape how businesses make like certain economic decisions, which would be like businesses would have to, like there would be some law or something like businesses have to employ like 40% of the workforce has to be humans or something.
That would be
like that. But like that I think that's like coming because they need to have people who have jobs.
Yeah. Well,
And
do we need to have jobs? Like, could we create if AIs can do some of this like farm work and create some of our natural resources, they can build houses and stuff like that. If we had robots that were capable of doing physical activities and the AI just controlled those robots, then all of our resources are met, right? So why do we need jobs?
Well, the question is like, but it still costs money to run those AIs and those robots. You still have to pay, even if the AIs can make houses and such.
It costs
you still
resources.
you still have to like you're supposed to like buy the house. You know what I mean? Like it's not just gonna be like gifted to you.
Why?
Because like there's money put into building that house. Resources, whatever.
But what if we have a system pass money where it's like, imagine like some sort of socialist, like Sweden.
Well, I was thinking more in the context of our current world, not like, we just. I mean, obviously, if it's a communist society, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in the context of like American
capitalism.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, then I think it's like a disastrous outcome where essentially.
I don't think capitalism can handle it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some point where the system's gonna break.
Yeah.
And something's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be like we're all gonna successfully want to change or think this is the right thing to do. There's gonna be a devastating break, and then we'll come to a conclusion after that.
Yeah, I don't think capitalism can really handle artificial intelligence. I just think because capitalism is premised on the idea of like people working, right, and people are earning money, and I think like if 90% of your population's out of work, capitalism fails.
Yeah. Because there's no trade of value.
Exactly, and there's no competition.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's competition with goods. Sure, people want that side of it works, but the whole labor market is just destroyed.
Yeah.
And the labor market, if people have any income, people can't buy any.
Exactly.
Everything just dies. So that's the scariest thing I think of. Oh, sunscreen. Yeah.
I think the AI would have a use for us.
What? What is the root?
To learn, to torture us.
To torture us?
Yeah, humans are interesting beings from an AI's perspective.
I mean, are ants interesting to us? For sure, for like a minute maybe, but they don't provide any use, so we step on them.
That's true. They can only like do so much with a human, and they probably only need like a select like 100
Yeah.
to mess with.
There's an interesting short story called I Have No Mouth and I Want to Scream, where essentially it's about a AI who is like, was created from like the Third World War, and they become really powerful, they wipe out all humans, but these like 4 people. And they take these 4 people and just torture them for all of eternity because they're really kind of mad that they were brought into existence. They didn't want to be brought into existence. So they take those 4 people and torture them, and it's really interesting. It's a really interesting concept.
Wow. Yeah, I think the idea of like AIs becoming evil, I'm not too worried about them becoming evil. I'm more so worried that their implementation leads to some
Yeah,
evil.
exactly.
You know, like, I don't think the AIs are evil in and of themselves. I just think it's that we create these disastrous, catastrophic scenarios. You know, it's not them creating it; it's us creating it, because ultimately we created them in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I've never really been worried about the AIs turning evil. You can just sort of plug on. I think it's more like it's that we like they're going to create situations where like people are so desperate for work, people are so desperate for jobs and money that like at least in the capitalist system, that like that's going to be the evil, not the robots. And I think it's going to be an extreme amount of income inequality, because you're going to have people who maybe made a lot of wealth before the AI revolution, or perhaps are at the top of companies where they're not fired or whatever, and those people are going to have incredible lives, because likely the cost of everything is going to be very, very low. And I mean, you could basically probably have robots do everything for you. It's gonna that would be like you're gonna live one of the most comfortable lives. But there's at the same time going to be people who literally I don't know. It's just people who will have nothing unless like the education system tries to support people in some way.
But what are they going to educate them toward?
The only thing I can think of is like they could educate them in some way to maintain the AI. I don't know.
You don't think the AI could maintain itself better?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. But there's some other thing that people could help with. I don't know. Cleaning the servers. Who knows? But even then, it's like, do you need that many people? That's why I think that the population decline is actually a good thing, because we're just not going to be able to support that many people. The economy won't. So I think it's actually good that the population is declining. People are really worried about that, but I think it's actually going to be okay, because it's going to coincide with AI taking over a lot of jobs. Have less people to feed.
It's like a concept in environmental sciences I learned. There's like I forget the term, but there's a line.
Population limit.
Population limit, where the population.
Carrying capacity.
Carrying capacity. Yeah, that. Where the population will rise until it surpasses the carrying capacity, and then because they don't have enough resources to sustain the population will shrink below the carrying capacity. They have resources, it gains again.
Yeah.
It's just like a fluctuating sort of thing. And I think as humans, we're kind of getting to that point where we had that exponential growth, and now we're near the carrying capacity of the environment, of just all our resources that we use, basically.
I read a report that said that we might have undercounted the world's population by half. So there could be 16 billion people.
I don't think there's.
I'll show you, because the way they count it is so unreliable. It's incredible. They don't count a lot of these rural like in Africa. There's a bunch of rural places. Don't count any of those. India, same.
But they have estimates for them.
But it's like severely undercounted. Let me show you.
There's no way it's 16 billion.
Probably not 16 billion, but it might be.
I could see maybe but I mean, how do you lose 1 billion people? Like, that's a lot.
Okay, here. Have we vastly underestimated the total number of people in the world? Undercounted the real number of people by 53% on average. That's what it says.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Like
crazy.
a reliable source.
Yeah, it's a. Okay, so they published this analysis in one of these journals, these scientific journals, and they said that according to their analysis, the most accurate estimates undercounted the real number of people by 53% on average, while the worst was 84% out. It's crazy. It's insane. Like,
How would they undercount it that drastically? It'd be hard to count 16
Yeah.
billion
I mean,
people.
census data in general is terrible. Like, you go around asking people, like, how many members are in your family? Like you're not gonna get everyone. You're gonna overcount. You're gonna undercount. It's really unreliable. We just don't have good methods of counting.
Yeah. I definitely think it's off.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that off.
Could be though.
It could be,
53%.
but think about it though, like, China definitely has a good record of how many people are in their
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
India probably not as much,
No.
but they could probably estimate generally in the area.
Africa though, it's really
Africa is, but I don't think it's off that much that we're double. But we're at 8 billion right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it'd be fair to maybe say like we're 8.5 billion. Or
I'd say
something.
maybe 10 billion. Okay, because think about
That's
how
2 billion. That's a lot of people. Like that's like wildly off. 2 billion people's. You know how many people? That's like six. What is that? Like 6 times the United States.
Wait, put it on a smaller scale, the ratio. So for every 8 people, they miss 2.
But think about where our population centers are. It's New York, San Francisco, and LA has like more than half our population. If those can be concentrated in cities, imagine like the amount of people in those everywhere else in the U.S. Like there could be a lot more people in the U.S. than we think.
No. But the U.S. generally has pretty accurate census. Like it's a few million. I mean, it might be a million or so
Little,
off,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yes, I guess.
it's and that's still insane. A million
Yeah.
people, but like I think yeah. I mean, okay. I think you could add probably half a billion people to it.
Okay, but this report, okay,
I don't even
the
know
way
if I-
they count the world population is by taking all of this census data and adding it together, right? But if the most accurate census data that they found is 52% off, then that is really, really damning on how they calculate the world's population.
No, I agree. But I feel like they have. I mean, nowadays we have so much like data and like we could probably. I mean, even in those more like rural, developing African countries, I think we could still have a pretty good approximation. I don't think it's like completely.
I don't think our methods are yet up to date enough. I think we're still relying on old methods.
I think we could use like statistics or something like that over actually counting. Like
Yeah.
for the USA, for example, you could tally the votes each election, right? And we could get the total number of votes, and then we go and do sample sizes. We go and do samples. We go to a bunch of random different locations in the U.S., sample 200, 300 people,
Yeah.
find out the percentage of people that
Yeah.
vote,
Yeah.
use that statistic, estimate the population of the U.S. You can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I imagine it.
But how about for Africa, like where
Elsewhere.
they less stable governments,
Well, what if there are other ways other than like voting?
I mean, because it's really hard to get a bunch of people to do one thing, Voting's the only thing I can really
Yeah.
think of. Maybe getting like an account on Facebook or something.
And like no one in the U.S. votes, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, just why like let's get back to why you're talking
About the carrying capacity? Because if there's so many people in this world, then once the AIs take over, or once they get rid of all these jobs, there's going to be so many people to support. And if there's 10 billion people, 2 billion more than we originally thought, and we never counted these people, we never knew they were here, it's going to be so much of a strain on our kind of system that we allocate resources.
You'd have to convert to some type of communist socialist system, because I think what would happen is you'd have so much wealth concentrated at the top that if you actually like disperse that, and divide it amongst the people, I think actually everyone's living standards would go up
Yeah.
significantly. Because I think the AIs would make the world much wealthier. But if there's no like proper distribution methods, wealth redistribution methods, the system, it's going to collapse. Everyone's going to be just poor, majority of people. So actually, it's funny because I do actually think that. Yeah, I do think. I mean, maybe not complete communism, but definitely a system where like someone's wealth is capped at a particular amount, and then it's given back to the bottom, which is someone could say inherently unfair because those people are not working, and maybe the people at the top are working.
Yeah.
But like it's the only way I see it working out.
And at this point, you don't even have to work. Your work is not going to provide anyone else benefit. The AI's work is the only thing that's going to provide people resources.
Exactly. So it's like you almost get to a scenario where you almost could have the I don't know if this is completely right, but I'm just going to go with this. You almost could have a scenario where, like, all the AIs are doing every single human task, and essentially it's the human race employing the AIs to work for them, right? And like, I don't know exactly. I mean, obviously there's money that has to be spent to keep these people up, but like you could basically have like the government nationalize everything, spend the money on those industries, and basically everyone's out of work. Then the government then like distributes the money.
Why doesn't the AIs run the government too? Why do you need humans for that?
Well, I just don't think people are going to give the government to artificial intelligence. But yeah.
Do you think the change would happen fast enough that we would get from a capitalist system to like a...
I think it would be a gradual thing. Like I think it's going to be something where like, I think lawmakers are first going to try to contain it. They're going to regulate. They're going to do the thing that I said, like 40% has to be humans or something like that. They're going to try to contain it because what's going to happen is, people are like, oh, immigrants are taking my jobs. That's going to be the rhetoric. Like, oh, these AIs are taking my jobs. So they're going to contain it. And then I think what's going to happen is they're going to realize they can't contain it. And then after that period, I think like other lawmakers will come up and go, listen, it's not about containing the AIs, it's actually about creating a proper social safety net. And that will get people's vote. And then they'll revert to that. And so then I think slowly we'll transition to more like socialism. That's the good scenario. The bad scenario is just war.
I'd say that's a bad scenario too. The good scenario is neurotech.
Neurotech's the only good scenario.
It is the only good
If you try to go down any rabbit hole there, it always ends up bad.
I mean, because even in that scenario, right, we're reliant on the AI so much so, like, they could easily just, like, not care, be indifferent, pursue their own goals, and then just leave us be.
Like, what goal would it have? When a knowledge-seeking, like, AI have that supports human survival?
Like, it could maximize its own pleasure or something, doesn't support human survival, It could want to...
It could maximize knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Search
I think
for
that's...
all kinds of
I
knowledge.
think that is most realistic scenario. I think any sufficiently enough intelligence will want to maximize their own knowledge.
Which would not be good for humans, but for the universe.
Assuming it's conscious.
What is conscious? I mean, it's got some sort of intelligence.
We don't really know what consciousness is.
Yeah.
There's just so many unknowns.
What were you just saying you were talking about?
What if it just leaves us? Like, it doesn't want to support us.
I just think we have to make sure that like people develop the AIs like responsibly. Like I think that people like it. In my opinion, the AIs are very similar to like almost like a military in a certain sense, right? Like you have to develop the military responsibly. You don't go around just like sending nuclear warheads everywhere, right? Like even though you can. I think like AIs are similar in the sense of like they present great danger, but they present great opportunity. And I think that like if they're used in the right ways, I think they could be really beneficial for humanity. But if they're used in the wrong ways, so I think right now it's kind of like an important point. And I think right now we're at an important point where we're figuring out as a society how are we going to use these tools, and I think we're at that tipping point of how we're going to use these tools and what are the responsible ways to implement them.
Isn't it
And
kind of
who
like
are the-
slavery though? Like you have an AI that is really intelligent, you get it to do your work and nothing else.
Yeah, no, I think having it like be productive and everything is good. I think using AIs to like manipulate people or like spread fear or violence or those types of things, or I think all of that is very concerning, and you can certainly do that. So I think it's all about like getting the proper laws in place to ensure that doesn't become the case.
I don't know. I think it already is becoming the case.
It is.
AI is open source. Like anyone can use it. we're already seeing AIs that are spreading misinformation on like social medias and stuff.
I think it's because the government hasn't caught up to that.
But
The government moves a lot slower
It
than the
does.
AI. It's like a
It
rabbit.
does. It
trying
does.
to
And I
chase a
think
human.
that's why like there has to be a lot more cooperation and communication between industry people and government people.
Ooh.
I think if the industry just takes off and starts taking over, we're just screwed because they're only going to think in that profit motive way. So they're not going to be using the AIs for all cause of knowledge or for education or to uplift people or any of those types of things. They're going to be using the AIs just to make a profit, just to screw people over, just to get money. And if that's the case, then you have very damaging systems. And
we can't really like stop this.
And you can't. Well, that's just the way the system is.
Sam Altman and Elon Musk, they both make the AIs don't. It doesn't seem like profit is their motive.
I mean, Sam Altman's gotten pretty wealthy off of
Yeah.
OpenAI.
I don't know about Sam Altman. Elon Musk maybe not, but Sam.
I think Elon Musk is, ironically, he would use it to like get to Mars and stuff.
Yeah,
which is like fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sam Altman, I think, is a little more concerning.
I think he just can't say his motive is profit, so he gives this other reason. Most people don't say their motive for developing something is profit. They say, oh, it's humanitarian goal. Like you have to create some sort of
You
humanitarian.
really think his motive is profit?
He doesn't seem that passionate about whatever goal of creating, AI for helping humans get to this socialist utopia. Like Elon Musk, you can clearly see that's his goal. He did SpaceX. He develops like a bunch of technology surrounding space travel. Like he really wants to get to Mars. Sam, he doesn't seem like he cares.
Yeah, I don't really like Sam Altman. There's something about him that's just, I think I don't know. I think he really thinks like he's God. I think, yeah, and I think he's okay with like screwing billions of people over.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I see your perspective. I see it. I don't think he's thinking about the repercussions.
Do you guys know what Google's doing with AI?
They have their own, the Gemini AI.
Gemini.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, you know those when you search something up and you see that little thing at the top that says made by an AI and it's just a little summary? They have that. They have some good video models. Google VO3 is the best video model I've seen so far. It can do native speech generation. So say you create like a movie of like two characters speaking, and it creates the script and it also syncs the lips of the person and creates the audio inside the video as well. So you don't have to use two different things to create video and audio. It's one thing. It has some of the best generation I've ever seen. Like all of the good videos that you see nowadays on like Instagram or something that's made by an AI, all of that is VO3. It's great.
Google's been doing really good at like integrating AI with their search engine. So they were kind of losing a lot of people who wanted information. They would go search on Google. They were searching on ChatGPT instead.
I do that now.
Yeah, I just
I mean, I do that, but yeah, now there's there was an option that I didn't turn on, but there was an option where it's basically like, do you want to include AI search results? I imagine it's like an integrated AI search system in Google.
Like, I feel like there's just such extreme ends of AI. Like you have, at one end you have like robot, sex robots on, Instagram or whatever people are jerking off to in bed. And then on the other end you have like I went to a talk at school, South Khan was there, like the Khan Academy guy, and he like, the way he wants to use AI is to create like customized, standardized testing and like tutors in your pocket that you can have, for students in like lower income areas. Like it's beautiful, like that's like huge, like allowing like the AI to like do the homework with the student, and the AI can like give a report to the teacher about where the student's struggling and having a hard time. Like all these ideas he's thinking about bringing to Khan Academy, and I just thought that was like so cool. And I was like, that's exactly how we need to be using these tools.
Yeah.
We don't need to be using them to make people depressed in their bedrooms and pull people apart and spread misinformation. And to be honest with you, like I think that like I just think that like that needs to be handled better. Like if someone's using AI to like deliberately like mislead or like spread something false, like that's criminal, you know. It's like I think it's just like I would love to have an area like some sandbox where you can just freely use AI whenever you want, but I just think like it's the same thing with like why people can't walk around with every weapon under the sun. It's just like there's bad people out there.
Yeah.
And they use things in wrong ways.
So do you think creation using AI should also be regulated? Like what people create?
I don't know like what creation like that. I think it's just more of like I mean I think like at the end of the day, like even when you're writing like news articles or like when you're posting any information out there on the web or in public, that is regulated. Like there is a level of truth and a standard that you have to be held to. So I think like that needs to apply to the AIs, and like now with like I guarantee you in like 10 years I'll be able to like feed the AI probably like 10 pictures of someone, and they could probably like perfectly replicate that person in any environment, replicate their voice, and you could probably 2 years, 2 years, right? And like it would just look completely perfect. Like that's wrong, right? Like that's you can't do that, or at least distribute it publicly. So,
I really don't think we'll be capable of creating sufficient laws to limit AI use. Like, no
I'm
matter
not saying we are. I just
like
An interesting idea I've seen though is that the reason why misinformation of AI is so dangerous is because when you see an account online, you think there's a human behind it. If you see an account post something, you think, oh, there's a human who's accountable to this. But if there's a million AI bots out there that are all posting information, and you think they're all humans, then you are more likely to trust that information. But if it has like some sort of tag that says this is an AI account, that could be very useful in showing people that, hey, this might be fake, this might be real.
No, that's completely true. Like the stuff I'm working on right now is like based like California has all these AI policies that are up, and almost every single one of the policies are about like transparency. A lot of them aren't about like exactly regulating the technicalities of the AI, but it's just saying if you do post it, it needs to have a label.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just like one specific example with like misinformation though, right? Like even with the tools I have available, I could just beat school without learning anything.
Yeah.
Like they don't have ways that they can like check me enough that I can't that can stop me from cheating.
But at that point, is it like a calculator? Like in like if in math class they say don't use a calculator, you use a calculator.
But I can use the AI to pass my classes without learning.
Yeah, I don't think it's a calculator though. It's not I think it's much more powerful than that. But I do think that a lot of classes are able to circumvent that issue by just having like in-person tests and like paper tests, right?
That's true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you have no access to anything, unless you have an AI chip, like
neurotech.
Yeah, like you're done. So I think education will be able to survive in that way. I just find it really ironic. It's like everything was paper, and everything became computers. And the computers became so good that everything had to come back to paper. Like that's just hilarious. Like paper's like, yes, we're getting a comeback. You know what I mean? Like that's like, who would have thought? Yeah.
I mean, AI cheating in school, it's not a big deal. I feel like with money is power, and a lot of people think with money it makes people corrupt. But I really think money shows what's already there. And I think AI is doing the same thing. The people that are truly passionate are going to use it to the best of their abilities, and they're going to achieve very well in the fields. It's going to show. And then the people that are cheating and getting through med school, they become a surgeon. It's not going to be that difficult to tell if someone's faking it or
I mean, you put some
field though.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you put someone in like a fake surgery and they don't know what to do and they're out, And I like, I mean, I'm not too worried about like the cheating thing. I think teachers can easily combat that.
Wait, how?
In person.
Just in-person tests.
In person?
But this is what I will say though. I do think the teachers should be
Should what?
The teachers should be worried.
Didn't one of your teachers like create a slideshow with AI or something?
I don't know, but I know that like I think the teachers should be worried because I could see a world where like I don't know, for example, like you know, for first quarter of this year, wasn't really using AI that much. I'd go to like a lot of office hours, you know, like with all the TAs there, and everyone's lost and confused, and you're trying to answer everyone's question, but you have to wait for your question to be answered. And then I like got like the lowest paid version of ChatGPT, and was able to answer like all my questions precisely, no wait time. I could, you know, the comfort of my door or wherever I was, and I could just see a world where like you just don't need all these teaching assistants and extra help and people. Where like the school just pays for some, you know, ChatGPT account or something. Maybe you have like a lecturer like keep it dynamic or something, but even that AI could be like a human on a screen, you know? I don't know. I just could see it where like you have substantially less faculty at universities.
Yeah. It's like what Khan Academy is doing. Like you can
Yeah.
have AIs create entire courses and
Yeah.
have them test you.
Like, you'd still have your experts, you know, that are up there and like, talking to people about it, but like, I just think overall, I think it's just a stripping down of the workforce in
Yeah.
general.
Do you think there would be an emotional disconnect from the student and the AI teacher versus a normal teacher?
That's why I think you need at least like one lecturer, like one human body in there.
I don't know actually. I think that you can form a good enough relationship with an AI if it's sufficiently advanced.
Yeah, but I think it needs to be like a human though. Like it needs to be someone like walking and talking.
I feel like a human connection with ChatGPT.
Yeah, me too.
It's
I
pretty
it's
similar.
pretty, like,
I mean, and
You
as
don't-
it gets better.
no, I mean like I feel like it is something. It's like
No, but it's different than like, okay, one of my professors, like he would have office hours at like lunch, you know, and like you go and have lunch with him, and he would like talk about it, and you felt like you're working for someone, like you're trying to like, you know, not impress someone, but like, you know, like this is a professor that's like an expert, and you're like, you're really interested in what they have to say and their thoughts, and like, I just don't think like if you set up a computer with like, you know, an AI woman on the screen, like
Just
everyone's-
put up ChatGPT in a robot.
Okay, but then
I mean,
There
you need a
hang out.
person-
then you need robots. That's not just AI. Then
I think you need a personality, right? Your lecturer has a personality. ChatGPT can take up any personality, so it's not necessarily like something you can form a bond with. But if you have these individualized, like professor kind of AIs that have a personality involved as well, that could be something. To
I do think ultimately like you'll have at least one like professor of a course or a series of courses, but you won't have all like the teaching assistants and like special people on the side because the AI can just do that. And even grading, like the teaching assistants are like they spend like a week going through all the tests and grading all the tests. I think if you fed it into ChatGPT, even now, I think it would be able to do it.
It would.
You know, so it's like, and that's coming in a year or 2 years.
I think there's a bigger disconnect. I can feel connected to my humanized ChatGPT, even though it's a bot. But the thing is, I don't really have empathy for it. I don't feel for it. I sometimes say, fuck you, and I do different scenarios to really try to just really mess with it. And I think it would be the same way with an AI teacher. Let's say all the students leave after class. Sure, why don't I get naked in front of my teacher? What's the true consequence?
There's no
It's
consequence.
just an AI
All right.
system.
I don't think I did
feel
all of us
anything.
think
No,
No,
you
no,
see
I
what I'm
agree. I agree
saying?
with him. I agree with
It's
him.
like
There's
the
no
rules are
accountability.
meant. It's
Yeah.
a tool. It's how you treat this water bottle. Sure, I can feel a connection to the water bottle, but it's not.
Because you have complete power over the AI.
Yeah.
Yes, you have complete.
Yeah, you can shut it down when you want. It's different than a human that can go around and spread rumors about you and talk to
Yeah.
other people.
The AI teacher would need more power.
Yeah.
It would need to. Okay, if we can put it into a robot and it goes home, it has activities it does throughout the day. It talks about you to other people. The actions that you take with the AI teacher should impact you socially. It should impact you in a lot more ways than just in the classroom.
It could also do something where if you get naked in front of it or like do anything to it, it gives that information about you to all the other AI systems. So it's like rumors spreading, you know? It's like, but it's like you
I
can't-
wouldn't
Oh,
care.
really?
I don't think the AI
I
would
think I
care.
Or
Or
AI judging.
Yeah.
It's freaking.
No,
it's
but
ones and
it wouldn't
zeros.
judge you. It wouldn't judge
But
you
it
at
might
all.
stop. It might stop giving you certain things. Like, for example, if there's one AI system over here that learns that you like got naked in front of this other one,
Yeah.
it might stop wanting to service you. You know
Or
But
it could
why
just
would
give
it
you an
care?
F in that class.
what?
It could just give you an F in the class.
Yeah,
Like,
it could do that too.
Do not get
Okay,
naked.
but even
like-
the whole point about the AI. Okay, actually that's a great point because I was just emailing. So I took a Spanish class, and my grade was like a 96 in the class, and I checked it and I had an A minus, and I was like, hey, I emailed her. I was like, hey, you know, I've done the calculations. It's an A. She took a while to get back. I haven't read her full email. I skimmed it a little bit, and she was like, oh, like you were using the bathroom a lot or something like that. So it was something really stupid. So the point is, I'm about to go back at this woman, but the point is, like that's bad. Like I want an AI teacher because they're not going to make stupid decisions like that. Oh, this is recorded. Okay, but they're not going to make stupid decisions like that, you know?
What's the probability your Spanish teacher watches this example?
Listen, she's weird, so maybe she does. I don't care.
Hey, Colin deserves his 96.
I do. I mean, okay. The point is, when Rishi visited, we were talking about how, this is such a digression, but we were talking about how when like you're dehydrated for a while and you drink more water, you have to go pee more often. So like I, for whatever reason, like was not drinking enough water, and then at the end of the spring quarter, when the weather was warmer, I was like, wow, I really need to drink more water. I feel really dehydrated. So as I was drinking more water, like I had to keep going pee. And this is actually someone explained to her in the email. The water found in the building had incredibly cold, really tasty water. And this is all true. This is all true. This is all true. And I would go and get the water and I'd drink it down really quickly. And because I was really dehydrated, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Because I was really dehydrated, I immediately have to go pee.
Yeah.
So I'd get up and like, you know, I think once a class I would get up and have to go use the restroom and then come back very quickly. You know, across the hallway. I didn't know that was gonna, you know, dock me a whole letter grade. But the point is, if I had an AI, I think they'd be nice and be rational and they wouldn't make those types of. They would judge me, you know.
Are you gonna bring
their
up
testing? Yeah.
What?
Are you gonna bring up the point about the AI to the teacher?
No, I'm not gonna say I wish you were replaced by AI. No, I'm not gonna say that. I wish I could say that. I'm not gonna say that.
After she gets back to you saying, okay, I'll change your grade, then you say that.
I really don't.
Yeah, I think you loved her. You said she was super chill.
Well, she just fucking screwed me over. Wait, also, another point about that is even if she gave me a 0, she said she was docking my like attendance grade because of that. Even if she gave me a 0 on my attendance grade, it still wouldn't be enough to pull me down under the.
Oh, really?
Whatever. The point. That's right. The AI would be reasonable and rational. You know, you wouldn't have to do. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with AI teachers, but give me at least like one teacher at the top that's like presiding over it. You know?
What if she's that teacher?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Not for her. She's happening. Other people. Yeah. I think she ultimately would lose her job. I think she's not.
You know what's interesting? I read, you know, *Sapiens*. There's like the book *Sapiens* I recommended for you both, and he's read it. The same author released a new book called *Nexus*, which is all about AIs and information systems. And he argues that we could have a system where money is used between us, and then data is used for the AIs. Because ultimately, AIs benefit with more data, right? That's their primary resource, data and energy. So they trade data and energy, we give them data and energy, and they give us resources.
That like presupposes the AIs want to survive, and the AIs want
That's
to
true.
continue.
That is true, yeah.
Like, we have biological functions that like make us, like we are trained and evolved to want to survive.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to code that into the AI. So you essentially have like a god, where like someone is like basically creating the rules of this new world.
True.
Why would there
I'll
be
be dead before that happens.
No, it'll be in a hive mind before that happens.
Why would there be such a disconnect between the AIs and the world?
I mean, it's just that it's such a smart intelligence, it doesn't care about us.
No, yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like, why do they need to trade data between each other? Why don't they allocate all their resources to one larger AI?
I mean, probably that's what would happen. Yeah. They would merge. It's like a hive mind.
There's an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick changes the dollar to a 0, and then mass havoc happens.
Yeah.
It destroys all parts of society. But what if all of our bank accounts started increasing by $1 per second? How would that affect?
Yeah, rapid inflation.
Like, does every country
Yeah,
this
I
happens to?
Yeah, so like rapid inflation, like the dollar would bond you less.
Like, nothing would change.
Nothing would change. You'd have to, instead of going to Target and buying, you know, like, what do you buy at Target? What do you buy at Target?
Shampoo.
Shampoo. How much is like shampoo? Like $10.
$10.
Okay, so instead of like spending $10 on shampoo, you have to spend like
$1
probably
million.
like $250, you know.
On websites like Amazon, would it be better to just have their prices continuously
Tick up.
increasing how it already is,
Yeah.
like it's going to infinity, or would it be better to place Amazon prices at like $200 million?
I think it would tick up.
Yeah,
everything
but
would take
every
up.
price increasing at
Because those
$1
companies
second.
making the products would have to then pay like more money,
Yeah.
and then they would mark it up. I mean, and everything like, you know, if like wages and everything like, you know, increase at the same rate, it would be fine. But the idea is like wages are sticky, so like that would be really terrible because all the prices would increase and people would be still making the old like their old wages. Like it would be like absolutely like you wouldn't be able to afford like a pack of gum. Like it would be like terrible.
And that's why I think the gold standard is something that is beneficial.
I
Like,
really like the gold.
I really like the gold standard. I think it is great because you cannot have government printing
Yeah.
money. You cannot have
Yeah.
inflation.
Yeah.
What is a gold standard?
It means that every like certain amount of dollar is pegged to a certain amount of gold. So every time the U.S. prints, you know, $100, they have to get $100 worth of gold as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And gold is like a finite resource.
Gold is a finite resource. Well, it increases by like 0.01% a year, like the
Oh,
amount
okay.
of gold reserves in the world because people mine for more gold. But it's so minuscule that it doesn't even matter.
No, I agree. I think the reason they got out of it wasn't it like Nixon and like stagflation
Yeah,
or
Nixon,
something?
yeah. Because people kept wanting to buy their gold from the U.S. and U.S. lost their gold currency reserves, so they just
Yeah.
pegged up.
I gotta go to work, guys.
All right.
Venture forth.
Venture forward.
Yeah, venture forth. Good to see you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I gotta pee real quick, but I'll be back.
I'm gonna dock your attendance
yeah.
grade. I'm gonna read this email that she
Dude,
sent me.
I bought Sapiens
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be coming. It says letter.
I thought of something on your thing yesterday. You
Yeah.
know how you were saying that like intellectuals don't like to
Oh.
associate themselves
Okay.
with certain ideologies? I actually think so. You're right about middle intellectuals not doing that, but the greats commit themselves to one ideology and pursue that wholeheartedly, right? Like Einstein committed himself to physics and to certain fields within physics. He committed himself wholeheartedly. Like the greats commit themselves to one particular thing and they stand with that. Like Che Guevara, he committed himself to communism. He stuck with that. He was a great. I think to be a great, you have to do so. Otherwise, if you're a middle intellectual who never commits themselves to anything, you don't make progress in anything fully. You just kind of go between things and make progress little by little in those.
I think you definitely have to go all into one and then all into another thing. I don't think you can like straddle both.
Exactly.
Cause like, I mean, yeah, I think yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like intellectualism, they don't like to commit themselves to something if they're a middle intellectual. But if they're a great, they do.
Yeah, we had an absurd debate the other day. It was maybe one of the most ridiculous
What happened?
I've ever been in.
Was it about commitment?
No, it was about like, it went from like
Birth.
having babies to like, I don't even know. I don't even want to think about it. It was like having babies to like, oh, like if middle intellectual people like stop having babies and like the world will become less intellectual. And she's like, no, it won't, because there'll be these great figures that people look up to. But I was like, but those figures are gonna die out because they don't have any babies. And if the world is mostly these idiot people, like they're not. I don't want to. It was just ridiculous. Like,
So you believe if all the middle intellectual people died, people would still strive for greatness?
Yeah, I totally think so.
Why do you disagree with that?
sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, if we eliminated all the middle intellectual people, why do you think the world would become stupider?
Well, I think that like there's people who, what I was saying yesterday was like, I think there are people who are like, it's not just about like, I'm not talking about IQ, it's more about like people who like value like learning and exploration and curiosity and that sort of thing. And I think there are people, a lot of people who are actively opposed to that, or at least like incredibly different about it. And they might be like actually like genetically very smart, but they are kind of raised in that environment. And because nurture is very important. I think that if most of the world is inhabited by those types of people, which those types of people are probably about 50% of the world. if that turns into 85 or 90% of the world, yeah, I mean, I think you are going to have significantly less like Steve Jobs like characters.
Well,
Because it's just less inspiration to go around, you know.
what? No, I think the thing is that the people who aren't having babies are those who are striving for greatness. The people who are having babies can still be the ones who appreciate greatness. Like my parents, for example, don't want to change the world,
what
but
I'm
they
saying-
still appreciate greatness.
Exactly.
you know?
But I'm saying is I think those types of people,
Uh-huh.
like your parents, if all of them thought in the way that you are, which is like, oh, well, I don't want to have kids because it'll mess with my goal, but maybe they're unsuccessful in attaining that goal.
But they aren't those types of people because they don't have any greater goal.
Yeah, I
And
just
a
think
lot
that,
of people are those types where they don't have a greater goal. They don't want to be a Steve Jobs, but they also don't want to be like poor.
but I think like a lot of people kind of like start out with those types of ambitions.
They
And I
do,
think-
they do.
I think a lot of people start out with those ambitions, and I think like if they were taught or whatever, like, oh, to pursue those ambitions, don't have kids. And a lot of people like, you know, will give it a good try for a few decades,
Mm.
and they never have kids, and then like they fail, and they ultimately don't have kids later in their life. It's like that pattern kind of persists over time.
Why can't they have kids later in their life?
They could, but like the chance of people having kids like, you know, later in life, it goes down. So I don't know. Fair points on both sides.
Very odd argument though.
In the end, wouldn't society kind of revert to the state we're in now?
I think there would be more grades.
Really, if we eliminate all the middle intellectuals?
No, we're not eliminating them. We're just telling the people who strive for greatness not to have kids. And then they don't devote their time, their resources into having kids.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
simple. I thought we were just killing.
No, we're not
everyone.
killing anyone.
But I don't think that
intelligence.
everyone. I guess where I differ with that is I think you'd have more those jobs like figures, but I don't think it would be as much more. I think there are kind of a finite amount of like those types of people
Really?
capable of having. I don't know what the number is, but I definitely know it's not like. I don't think like everyone can't be a Steve Jobs. You know.
I think anyone has the potential to be a Steve Jobs.
I think.
I don't know. In our current world, I think on the current system, I think it's just not enough resources. To
Oh, in a system.
Yeah.
The reality is, we're all uncertain. We're all lost when it really comes down to it. That's like something fundamental
Mhm.
about everyone. But it's those people like Steve Jobs that accept that fully and admit to that humility and pursue searching. It makes sense.
I like that way of phrasing it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
while other people just remain in that uncertainty, not wanting to choose one side or the other, and not accepting that.
They also don't want to like. They also want to like remain in a space of like comfort and familiarity.
Yeah.
You know, and that like sort of helps compensate for that uncertainty. And I think people like Jobs sort of embrace the uncertainty, and they're like, I mean, in his speech, you know, one of his speeches he was like talks about like thinking about death. You know, and like thinking about this idea that like the world that you know is this temporary place that is totally unexplainable and is totally uncomfortable when you actually think about it. And for him, it's like, well, if I know that I'm going to die, and I know that at the end of the day, that's lights out, and I won't have another chance, I might as well just take as many risks as I can, because there's really no point in not taking the risks. At the end of the day, everyone dies anyways.
Yeah.
You know, everyone reaches the same fate. So, but I think that's a hard kind of, I think it's a hard thing to actually like live out, because I think it's just uncomfortable. You know, it's very uncomfortable to sort of go against the grain and not follow the schools of fish per se.
I've kind of always thought that way.
And that's a blessing, you know, for you.
Do you see a shirt?
You know, oh my God, that's so. Wait, did you make? Is that like a custom shirt you made?
You made it, yeah.
It's the draft. Rishi's been helping me.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What does it say? Comfort is the slowest. Oh my God.
Okay, that's changing. This is why it's a draft. The
Why
back
you
That's
changing?
sick.
Yeah, so he's gonna post a video about, remember the time he jumped off the bridge?
Yeah.
He's posting that video, and he's putting the shirt at the end of the video so people buy the shirt.
Oh wow, that's super cool. Wow. Wow.
See, okay, but this is also why people need an ideology. They need a movement. They need some sort of label. Because the thing is, suppose you're lost, you're gonna want comfort. You're gonna want nihilism or existentialism, or you want a label because you know that this is certainty. Everyone, I think, comes to universalism at a certain point and thinks, I don't have enough knowledge to know the purpose of the universe. But then they just look around and say, oh, maybe I can't get this knowledge, so I have to settle. That's what it is, it's settling.
Yeah, they come hedonistic. Yeah.
But as soon as you see that there's people not settling, there's people who are dedicated to all cosmic knowledge, now you can join these people. You
And
don't
it's
have to
comforting.
settle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're almost you're
You're
yeah,
creating
you're hiding-
comfort.
Yeah,
you're-
kind of, yeah,
You're,
exactly.
it's almost like like in economics, how like if you want like people to like do better for the environment, you internalize the externality.
Exactly.
And so you use the economics to actually solve that issue that you thought was becoming a problem because of the economics in the first place.
Exactly.
You hijack the system to go in another direction.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, it's incentives. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
Are you
I,
gonna-
I gotta go. I have to work on this thing.
Sounds
uh,
good.
That I have to get done by the end of today.
Thank you for coming, Colin. It's always great.
Of course.
talking
Sorry
with
I was late,
Yeah,
but
no,
you know,
no.
I was here for an hour, so I feel
It's
like
good.
I made up for it.
Yeah.
you. Venture forward.
And you came
Colin.
quick too. That was nice.
I tried, man. I completely lost track of time. I was out on the river and I was like, and then I'm like, yeah, I think it's about 2:30, and then my phone was away, and I pulled out of the bag, and I'm like, oh God, you know, it's like it was. Yeah, I was quick.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still in my trunks. But it was a good conversation.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Are you guys gonna stay here? Or?
No.
No.
Okay. Is this Max's computer?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Venture
Venture
forward.
forward.